How a grieving billionaire found love again at midnight. A heartbreaking healing story. The clock struck midnight, and the world held its breath. In the heart of the bustling city, a luxurious penthouse illuminated the skyline like a beacon. Inside, Julian Cortez, a billionaire with a heart shattered into a million pieces, clutched a glass of whiskey, his fingers trembling. The weight of loss hung heavy in the air. Just a year ago, he'd been the toast of the town, a man who had it all: wealth, charm, a loving wife. And then, in an instant, everything unraveled. The macabre image of her accident replayed in his mind like a twisted movie reel: the screeching tires, the blaring horns, the devastating silence that followed. But tonight felt different. A strange energy crackled in the air as he stared out over the city, a sea of shimmering lights, each one a reminder of life moving on. A distant sound, like a haunting melody, lured him towards the balcony. The moon hung low, shrouded by clouds, as if hiding a secret. Was it the whiskey playing tricks on him, or was there truly something supernatural tonight? He leaned over the ledge, and to his surprise he heard whispers dancing on the wind, soft, inviting, and laced with a promise of mystery. Across the street, a masked figure stood motionless in a dark alley, casting an enigma that sent shivers racing down Julian's spine. Their eyes locked for a fleeting moment, and he felt a magnetic pull. Who were they? What were they doing there at this hour? He couldn't shake the feeling that they were connected, that fate had intertwined their paths in an unfathomable way. He could feel the tension mounting, a tightness in his chest that mirrored the storm brewing within. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As Julian's heart raced, a thunderstorm rolled in, plunging the city into darkness. The rain began to pour, washing away the remnants of his sorrow, as if nature herself was trying to heal him. But just then, a flash of lightning illuminated the figure again, revealing a striking silhouette cloaked in shadows. They seemed to beckon him closer, like an apparition from his past, stirring memories he thought were buried. In that electrifying moment, Julian made a decision that would change everything. He stepped back from the edge, his heart pounding like a drum. Who was this mysterious stranger? Could they truly be a part of his salvation, or was it all a trap waiting to ensnare him deeper into despair? As he turned to head back inside, he knew he had to find out, because sometimes love could be lurking just beyond the darkness, waiting to be awakened again. Rain lashed against the windows, creating a symphony that drowned out Julian's thoughts. But within his heart, the melody remained pulsing with restless yearning. He paced the expansive living room, each step heavy with uncertainty. The figure in the shadows replayed in his mind, etched into his memory like a brand. Who were they? Why had they captivated him so? He grabbed his phone, fingers hovering over the screen. The temptation to call someone, anyone, flickered in his mind like that dying light bulb in the dim hallway. But no, he wanted this moment to be his alone, a private reckoning. He stepped back to the balcony, the rain now a torrential downpour, filling the air with the scent of earth. His heart cracked open once more, the line between hope and despair blurred. Just then, a shrill scream cut through the cadence of the storm. Julian's pulse quickened. What was happening? He peered over the ledge, searching the street below, where shadows danced under sporadic streetlights. The world felt different now, charged with adrenaline and danger. There! The masked figure was gone. A pit formed in his stomach, a gnawing realization that he wasn't alone in his grief. Someone else was out there, hiding in the storm, but for what purpose? As anxiety clawed at him, he felt an uncontrollable pull to chase after that fleeting presence. He threw open the door, the night cold and electric, snapping him back into reality. Head high, he sprinted down the slick stairwell of his penthouse. Each step felt like a drumbeat of fate, echoing the ferocity of the downpour. His heart raced, not just from fear, but also from an awakening, a spark of purpose reigniting within him. He burst onto the street, drenched, the cool rain mixing with the warmth of his breath. Looking around, he hardly recognized the city he had once ruled. The glimmering towers now loomed like silent sentinels, watching his every move. Julian's eyes strained to catch a glimpse of that figure, hoping they hadn't dissolved into the shadows entirely, but they had left a trace. A flicker of movement caught his attention in a narrow alley. Without a second thought, he charged forward, drenching himself even further in the downpour. The rushing water almost drowned out his own heartbeat as urgency spurred him on. As Julian rounded the corner, he froze. There they were. The figure stood, illuminated briefly by another flash of lightning. The mask glinted, curious, covering a face that could have been anyone. "Wait!" he shouted, desperation clawing at his throat. "Please, I just want to talk." The figure hesitated, a tiny fraction, and something deep in Julian stirred. They hesitated before vanishing into deeper darkness, pulling him along a rabbit hole of intrigue he never could have anticipated. Julian chased after them, but the rain cascaded, making it hard to maintain sight. Was this madness? He could feel the thrill, the danger. It excited him in a way he hadn't felt in ages. What part of his grieving heart had responded so fiercely? He pushed these thoughts aside, diving deeper into the alley. Then he heard it again, the haunting melody from before, drifting softly like a ghost. It was both beautiful and unsettling, luring him in. He followed the sound, ignoring the rising dread. Behind the next corner lay a cut of red light, illuminating the blurred outline of a door ajar. Curiosity and fear mingled in his gut. What lay behind that door? He slowly reached out, heart thundering, breath shallow. And then, just as he was about to step through, he heard a whispered voice call his name. Julian. The world around him slowed as he stood at the threshold, temptation dancing in the air. Who was calling him? And what awaited him on the other side? Julian. The word echoed in the damp air around him, snaking into his mind like tendrils of smoke. It felt familiar and foreign at the same time, stirring up memories buried deep. But he couldn't let it distract him. Whatever lay beyond that door flickered with both danger and promise. Heart racing, he pushed it open, the hinges creaking like the voice that had beckoned him. A fragrant hint of jasmine spilled out, mixing with the rain-soaked pavement. The room was dim, lit only by pulsing red lights that danced rhythmically, casting eerie shadows on the walls. "Who's here?" he called, voice trembling slightly, the sound swallowed by walls that felt closer than ever. From the corner of the room, the figure emerged. The mask gleamed almost knowingly. "You shouldn't have followed me, Julian," the voice said, soft yet commanding. "You're not ready for what's coming." Julian swallowed hard, shifting his weight as he tried to process. "What do you mean?" "I heard you call. I had to know who you are. Do you think knowing will ease your pain?" The figure stepped closer, and the dim lighting revealed the outline of a face just beneath the mask, a glimmer of vulnerability that made his heart skip. "I wouldn't be standing here if I didn't need answers," Julian replied, desperation creeping into his voice. "I've lost everything. I just want to understand what's happening." "Who are you?" "You have lost much, Julian. But you must tread carefully in the shadows. Some things are better left in the dark." Julian felt his chest tighten, a lump forming in his throat. "Tell me. You've drawn me into this. I'm already in too deep." As the figure moved closer, the room felt smaller, the air thickening around them. There was a spark, an electric charge in the space between them. Was it fear or something else? He wasn't sure, but there was no turning back now. "I'm a part of your past," the figure said, voice like silk. "And if you want to know the truth, you must confront what you've overlooked. It's time to face your demons." A violent gust of wind rattled the windows, and Julian's fear intensified. This felt less like a conversation and more like a trial. "What do you want from me?" "To uncover the truth about your pain. It's not just grief, Julian. There are secrets, dark ones. You're not the only one hurting." Julian's head spun. "Secrets?" What secrets could possibly tie him to this figure? An anger surged within him, pushing against the dread. Just tell me, he demanded. What do I need to know? But instead of an answer, the figure stepped back, melding into the shadows like a phantom. You must find me again. There is more I can show you. Wait! Julian shouted, but the room fell silent, the red lights flickering and then waning. Left standing alone, he felt hollow. The storm raged outside, but inside, a different tempest swirled. This was bigger than him, and it frightened him. Seeing that figure had awakened something deep within, and now he was trapped between the past and a future uncertain. With a shaky breath, he stepped outside into the rain again. Thunder cracked like the pain in his heart. A new resolve formed. He would find them, confront whatever secrets were hidden. It was his only chance at finding peace. As he stumbled back into the storm, a reflection caught his eye in a puddle. The mask glinted again, its presence lingering like a ghost. What other secrets lay ahead? Would he be ready to face them? The rain washed away his tears, but not the urgency swelling in his chest. He needed answers, and he needed them fast. As he drifted deeper into the night, an unsettling realization struck him. The figure had something to do with his past. The question was, who were they really? And what truth waited just around the corner? Julian took a deep breath, the storm's cold air biting at his skin. He moved quickly through the rain, footsteps splashing as he raced toward his old apartment. Familiar memories clung to him like the dampness in the air, laughter, warmth, and a sense of belonging that felt like a lifetime ago. The city was darker tonight, the shadows stretching ominously as he navigated the slick streets. Each flash of lightning tore through the sky, illuminating fragments of buildings, street signs, and even faces of strangers. And yet, the only person he could picture was that masked figure. What connection did they have? His pulse quickened with each thought, simmering with anger and confusion. He reached his apartment, each step heavier than the last. Fumbling, he opened the door and stepped inside. The darkness enveloped him, but he barely noticed. The memories were stronger. He could see her Rachel, her smile, her gentle laughter. I can't let this go on, he whispered to himself. I need to know who that person is. He flipped on the light, squinting as the overhead fixture flickered to life. The room felt even emptier now, echoes of the past lingering in the corners. But his resolve to uncover the truth washed over him like the rain outside, invigorating yet terrifying. As he reached for his phone, he hesitated, the weight of his decision feeling heavier than he anticipated. Maybe I shouldn't, he muttered, fear creeping back in. Faces of friends and family who had tried to offer support flashed before him, their words move on ringing in his ears. But this wasn't just about moving on. This was about understanding the darkness that had taken root in his heart. A soft chime from the phone broke his focus. An unknown number blinked on the screen. It took every ounce of courage to press the button, but a sense of urgency urged him forward. Hello? Static crackled on the line, followed by a voice that sent shivers down his spine. Julian, you seek answers. You must trust me. The masked figure's tone? His heart raced as he leaned closer to the phone. Where are you? Who are you? Meet me where the shadows linger, came the eerie reply. But remember, not all truths will set you free. The line went dead, leaving Julian staring at the screen, breath quickening. What does that even mean? He thought, pulling at his hair in frustration. But amidst the confusion, that ember of determination sparked again. He had to confront this, to face whatever lay hidden in the shadows. Determined, he threw on a jacket and stepped back into the storm. The rain felt more intense, each drop heavier as he raced towards the abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town, the last place they'd faced that terrible night together, the place where darkness and light intersected in his memories. As he approached, a low rumble of thunder echoed ominously, and the warehouse loomed ahead, a behemoth against the night sky. The doors stood ajar, inviting yet taunting. A pulse of anxiety raced through him, but he silenced it. Secrets waited inside, secrets he could no longer ignore. With each step closer, the hairs on his neck prickled. The distant glow of a dim light flickered within, and he hesitated, feeling an unsettling mixture of dread and anticipation. Suddenly, a figure rushed past the warehouse exit, barely glimpsed through the shadows. A scream pierced the air, sharp and desperate. Julian's heart dropped. Was this another nightmare, or was something sinister truly lurking? There was more at play here than he had imagined. "Wait!" he shouted, adrenaline surging. But the figure was gone, dissolved into the storm outside. A collective fear rumbled within him, each heartbeat urging him to uncover the truth. He had come here for answers, but would he leave with more questions or something worse? With a deep breath, he stepped inside, determined to confront whatever lay ahead. The shadows thickened, the light winked out, and he could feel terror and hope collide. As he looked deeper into the darkness, he wondered what awaited him in the depths of his own past. Once again the path shifted beneath his feet, leading him towards yet another revelation. Would he find the truth, or would the truth find him first? Julian stepped into the warehouse, feeling a chill creep along his spine. The air was stale, heavy with the scent of rusted metal and forgotten memories. A single flickering bulb hung from the ceiling, casting ghostly shadows that danced along the cracked concrete walls. His pulse surged, echoing in his ears as he strained to hear anything beyond the rhythmic patter of rain against the roof. "Who is there?" he called out, his voice breaking the silence like glass shattering. The shadows remained still, but the dread clawed at him. "I'm not here to hurt you." He didn't even know if he meant that. The faces of his lost loved ones flickered through his mind. Rachel's golden hair, the way she laughed. Still, he pressed on, his instincts propelling him deeper into the gloom. The warehouse seemed to swallow every sound, warping his reality. His heart raced as he recalled the masked figure's words. "Where the shadows linger." What did that mean? Anxiety twisted around his thoughts as he remembered just how intimately he knew this place, the secrets buried here, the unspeakable horrors of that night. Glancing down at his phone, he realized the screen was still lit, illuminating a path ahead. Each step felt weighed down by the haunting memories that clung to him like a second skin. A low thud echoed in the distance, causing him to freeze. Was he alone? "Show yourself!" he shouted, frustration boiling over. The response came not from a voice, but from the shadows shifting in front of him. An imposing figure stepped into the glow, revealing himself. It was the masked figure, the silhouette sharp against the dim light. Julian's breath hitched. "You came," the figure said, voice smooth yet menacing. "Who are you?" Julian demanded, fists clenched. "What do you want from me?" The mask concealed everything but the chilling calmness in their tone. "You seek answers, yet you fear the truth. You must understand that some secrets can destroy you." Julian's heart drummed wildly. What happened to Rachel? What did you do? A haunting silence filled the air. The figure took a step closer, and Julian tensed, witnessing the mask glint ominously. "It was never about what I did. It was about what you chose to ignore." "Stop playing games!" Julian shouted, the anger spilling over. Before he could gather the rage swelling in his chest, the masked figure flicked a finger up, pointing toward the far end of the warehouse. "Look beyond your fear. You'll find what you're really searching for." There, just out of reach, was a thick curtain of darkness, pulsating with an unsettling energy. Julian hesitated, the heat of fear washing over him again. The figure watched, unmoving, like a phantom waiting for the inevitable. "What if I don't want to uncover the truth?" he asked, his voice trembling. "Then you'll remain a prisoner of your past, forever shackled by shadows," the figure replied. The words hung in the air like the weight of his regret. He sensed a strange urgency within him, an irresistible pull toward the darkness beyond. Was he truly ready to confront the demons of his past? With a deep breath, Julian took a cautious step towards the curtain, heart racing, mind whirling with possibilities. Sweat trickled down his back as the shadows seemed to breathe around him, enveloping him. But as he approached, a loud crash echoed behind him. Panic surged through him as he whipped around. The door had swung shut, sealing him inside the warehouse. His heart thundered and dread enveloped him as he stood before the curtain, knowing he could no longer turn back. The air crackled with unspoken tension. "What have I done?" he murmured, hands trembling as he reached for the edge of the darkness. As the curtain parted, a flash of blinding light surged forth, wrapping around him like a storm ready to erupt. And in that moment, Julian faced a choice that could change everything: the truth before him, or the ghosts that clawed at his sanity. What awaited him in that blinding brilliance? Would the answers shatter him, or could they set him free? The light enveloped him, white and intense, disrupting his thoughts and blinding him to everything he had ever known. Julian felt his breath hitch as he teetered on the precipice of the unknown, caught between the shadows of his past and the blinding illumination ahead. Just then, he stumbled, and the world around him shifted. Suddenly, he found himself standing in a different place, still hazy and confusing. He blinked, his vision adjusting slowly to the scene unfolding before him. He was no longer in the warehouse. Instead, he stood in a twisted replica of his old family home. Everything was eerily familiar: the faded wallpaper peeling at the edges, the worn wooden floors, the dimly lit hallway echoing with distant laughter. But there was an unsettling quality to it, as if this space was a warped reflection of his memories. He took a cautious step forward, heart pounding. "Rachel?" he called, voice echoing eerily through the empty halls. A whisper floated through the air, one he recognized instantly. Julian, his pulse quickened. He could barely discern a figure at the far end of the hallway, cloaked in shadow. It was as if time had folded in on itself, drawing him back to the moment before everything fell apart. "Rachel?" he called again, hope battling the creeping dread. The figure shifted, revealing glimpses of golden hair illuminated by a slant of light. "You left me," she said softly, pain lacing her words. After everything, he felt sweat bead on his brow as she stepped closer. Her features were obscured, a haze of memories and regrets, but he could see the heartbreak in her eyes. "I searched for you," she continued, voice breaking. "But you turned away." "I didn't mean to," Julian gasped. "I lost you, or did you lose yourself?" Her voice sharpened, piercing through the warmth of nostalgia, wrapping around him like vines. "You can't keep running from what you've done." The walls shimmered, and a wave of anguish crashed over him as he was overwhelmed by flashes of their life together: laughter, arguments, love, and ultimately, heartbreak. Each image sliced into him, raw and painful. He tried to hold on to the warmth, but it slipped through his fingers, replaced by icy memories of that fateful night. Tears burned in his eyes as he stumbled backward, smacking against the cool wall behind him. "No! Please stop!" he choked out. "Face it, Julian. You brought this on us." Her voice echoed in the hall, shifting from whisper to a haunting cry. "And you must decide: will you accept the truth?" Suddenly, the light dimmed, and a cold gust of wind rushed through the hallway, extinguishing the warmth. Shadows closed in again, snatching away Rachel's image and replacing it with darkness that wrapped itself around him. He was frozen in place, begging to cling to what felt real. But as he closed his eyes, the memories flooded back: Rachel's laughter, her touch, everything that had been ripped away. The reality of his choices twisted in his stomach like a live wire. "Choose now," the voice commanded, echoing through the shadows. "Your truth, or your chains." In that instant, he realized he stood on the edge of a precipice. What truth lay before him, nebulous and terrifying? Julian's heart beat faster, the shadows beckoning him closer to the abyss. Could confronting his past lift the chains of guilt? Or would he drown in the despair of his decisions forever? As he opened his eyes wide, clarity jolted through him like a live wire. Perhaps, just perhaps, facing the remnants of his pain could finally lead him back to himself, and then he heard it, a sound, growing louder, a second heartbeat. "You're not gone, Rachel," he whispered, desperation tightening his chest. But what could that heartbeat mean? He knew he had to make a choice, before the darkness swallowed him whole. Was he ready for the truth, or would fear hold him captive in the shadows forever? Julian's heart raced as the second heartbeat grew louder, thrumming in his ears like a persistent drum. The sound echoed in the twisted hall, competing with the shadows that threatened to claw him back into despair. Was it his imagination, or something more? Each pulse seemed to draw him in, a promise wrapped in a delicate thread of hope. "Rachel?" he called into the darkness. The word felt heavy, like a stone dropped in a well, sinking into deep, uncharted waters. The darkness held its breath as if waiting for a response. Suddenly, the walls echoed with a crack, a violent, jarring sound that sent a shiver down his spine. Julian stumbled back, his hands flying up, instinctively protecting himself from an unseen threat. With each heartbeat, the shadows contorted into sharper forms, creeping along the edges, enveloping him like a blanket woven from regrets and fears. Then, from beyond the shadows, he heard it again, the heartbeat. His breath caught in his throat. It was rhythmically persistent, alive. Was it connected to Rachel, or was it his own buried pain resurfacing? "Is it you?" he whispered to the void. "Is it really you?" He strained to see through the gloom, but it was as if a storm had swept in, blurring reality and memory. In that moment of uncertainty, he felt it, an emotion like warmth in the cold night, a fragile clarity piercing through the fog. It pushed him to take a step forward. He had to face it. "Show yourself," he demanded, more his own anchor than a command to whatever lurked in the shadows. The darkness quivered at his challenge, wavered, and for a fleeting second, he saw her silhouette emerge, one that felt both familiar and distant. "Julian," the voice reverberated, made of soft whispers and sharp edges. "You can't run from this, the truth is what binds us." His mind spun with the weight of that admission, and the darkness seemed to contract around him, a desperate reminder of guilt and loss. Yet beneath it all, that heartbeat thumped steady, a beacon in the storm. "Is it too late?" he asked, voice trembling under the weight of truth. "Do I still have the chance?" A flash of light erupted, a single ray cutting through the oppressive shadows, bathing the dim hallway in a soft glow. For the first time, he could see her features, the warmth in her eyes cutting through the lingering chill. Despite the pain, her smile beckoned him. "It's never too late, Julian," Rachel said, her voice soothing yet filled with urgency. "But you have to choose. You can't cling to both life and the past." Could it really be that simple? A choice? Julian felt the chains of guilt tightening around him. Facing the past meant opening wounds he had long buried. But had he not suffered enough? He reached out, every instinct screaming at him to retreat, yet something deeper urged him forward. "Just tell me what to do," he begged, the darkness whispering doubts, wrapping around him like a cold shroud. "Face the truth the moment you lost me. What have you been hiding from yourself?" The heartbeat ratcheted up, pulsing louder, urging him to remember. His heart hammered, and images flickered through his mind, the arguments, the tears, flashes of Rachel's last moments with him, her pleading eyes, a desperate search for understanding, a love suffocated by his own fear. Could uncovering the truth finally allow him to break the cycle? The darkness pressed in, and he knew he had little time. "Choose." Rachel's voice rang out, fierce and electric. The hallway quivered, shadows curling defensively. What if the choice shattered him? What if, instead, it could set him free? As the heartbeat drummed in furious insistence, clarity pierced through the disarray. Julian steeled himself, regret and hope entangled as he made his decision. But before he could take that final step into the revelation, the light flickered ominously, and another voice erupted from within the shadows. "Don't believe her," it hissed. "You're better off without the truth." Fear coiled around him, uncertainty crashing in. Who to trust? What was real? As he felt himself falling deeper into the abyss, the weight of the choice loomed larger than life, more pressing than ever before. Would he dare to embrace the echo of love, or let fear crush his last breath of hope? The darkness hissed, taunting him, as if daring him to break free from its chains. Julian's heart thudded in his chest, a frantic drum caught in a whirlwind of emotions. "Who are you?" he demanded, his voice shaking. A shadow detached from the wall, curling like smoke, before coalescing into a figure. It was indistinct yet defined in its menace. "Just a voice of reason," it crooned, its tone mocking. "Why would you trust a mere memory, Julian? How can you believe a specter of the past?" Pressure built in his chest, almost suffocating. The haunting image of Rachel flickered in and out of focus as the shadows clawed at him. He could feel their cold touch as they whispered dark thoughts, wrapping around his limbs. "You've carried the weight of your failure long enough," the voice urged, slithering through his subconscious. "Let it go, it's easier." "Easier?" Julian spat back, his voice steadying, defiance flickering in the face of doubt. "Is that what you call hiding? I've buried her. I thought it was the only way." The figure's laughter echoed, an unsettling sound that danced through the hall like nails on a chalkboard. "You've buried yourself. But do you want to be free? Let yourself forget the pain. Embrace the shadows." The heartbeat responded strong and insistent, growing louder, drowning out the spectre-esque persuasive whispers. The light flickered again, illuminating Rachel's silhouette just ahead. "Julian!" she cried, reaching out with a hand that seemed to glow with an inner light. "Don't listen to it. This isn't just about your past, it's about your future." Tears pooled in his eyes as he fought against the tide of despair. The thought of embracing what he'd lost felt like standing on the edge of a cliff, daring to leap. "But what if I can't?" he shouted, desperation clawing his throat. "Then you'll remain stuck here forever." Rachel's eyes sparkled with an ethereal urgency. "Choose the truth, Julian. Face what you've hidden, and you'll find the peace you seek." The pulse grew frenetic, pounding in tandem with his quickening breath. Images rushed back like a flood, the sound of Rachel's laughter, her warmth beside him, the moments splintered by grief. "Time is running out." The voice from the shadows thundered, the walls closing in around him. "You can't trust her. Her world is gone, but yours can still prosper." Julian's heart waged war as both voices rang in his ears, yet amidst the chaos, he sensed a sliver of hope slicing through the suffocating darkness. This choice wasn't just about Rachel, it touched the very core of who he was. He took a deep breath, steadying himself as he stepped closer to Rachel. "I don't want to be lost anymore. I want to remember." "That's it." Rachel's face lit up, a glow of empowerment. "Your past isn't just pain, it's filled with love. Embrace it, and let it guide you." The shadows writhed in fury, curling aggressively toward him. "No! Don't be a fool!" the other voice screamed, frantically clawing at his doubts. But Julian stood firm, even as fear prickled down his spine. His decision felt monumental, like ripping off a bandage to expose the wound. He focused on Rachel's unwavering presence, the warmth radiating from her spirit. "I choose to face it," he breathed, louder now, conviction spilling from his lips. "I choose you, Rachel. I refuse to let the past steal my chance at happiness." As the final syllables left his mouth, the air crackled with energy. The light expanded, pushing back the shadows that had suffocated him for so long. The heartbeat synced with his own, a rhythm of life pulsing through the space. But as the darkness began to dissipate, the figure lunged forward, an echoing scream of rage filling the corridor. "You'll regret this, Julian. You can never escape the truth." With a roar, it faded into the light, leaving a shuddering stillness in its wake. Julian blinked, speechless, as the shadows receded, revealing a door bathed in brilliant light. But as he approached it, the ground trembled beneath him. Was this truly liberation, or was something darker lurking still in the depths beyond? As that thought seized him, the door swung open, revealing a world he couldn't yet comprehend, teetering on the edge between hope and despair. Would he dare to step through into the unknown, or would he falter at the threshold, haunted by his own uncertainties? Julian squared his shoulders, heart racing as he stepped toward the radiant door. It beckoned him, a siren-esque call of warmth and promise, yet the ground beneath him shifted with a menacing tremor. What lay beyond the threshold? "Julian!" Rachel's voice was urgent, slicing through the tension. "We can do this together. You're not alone." He swallowed hard, glancing back at her. She stood radiant, her aura pushing back the echoes of despair that clung to him. But the shadows weren't done. They thrashed and twisted, desperate to whisper doubt back into his consciousness. "What will you choose?" The darkness growled, its voice tinged with venom. Security in shadows or the rawness of truth? The past may just be a trap, waiting to ensnare you again. You're wrong! Julian shouted back, his resolve swelling. I'm done living in your twisted game. I don't fear the past anymore. With resolve solidifying, he took another step. The door pulsed with light, and he felt an insatiable pull, like gravity was drawing him into the unknown. Behind him, Rachel urged him on. You've already taken the first step, don't stop now. Believe in what we can rebuild. His pulse roared in his ears, battling against the remnants of uncertainty, the whispered intimidation from the shadows. The light intensified, spilling into the darkness, a defiance against despair. He was not alone, he had Rachel. He had a chance. Just as he reached for the door, a scream erupted from the shadows, jagged and raw, the voice of distorted anguish. You think you can escape? The truth will find you. You can't hide from yourself. The world vibrated with anguish and power. Julian hesitated, the clawing fear wrapping around him like barbed wire. But he remembered Rachel's smile, her laughter genuine, bright, and untarnished by grief. He wanted to feel that connection again. I'm not running, he shouted defiantly, shattering the remnants of doubt. I'm walking toward my truth. He grasped the door handle, cold steel transforming into a warm embrace as he pushed it open. In a whirlwind, he was swallowed by light unlike anything he had seen, a cascade of colors blurring together, swirling around him until he could hardly tell where the darkness ended and the light began. He felt the cold tendrils that had gripped him dissipate, replaced by warmth that filled every crevice of his being. As the brightness enveloped him, he found himself standing in a vast expanse, a serene field illuminated by a glowing moon. Time seemed to stand still, a breath of night wrapping him in tranquility. He blinked, searching for signs of life, then he spotted her, Rachel, standing a few paces away, as surreal as ever. Welcome to your new beginning, she said softly, her smile a beacon of warmth. But as he took a step toward her, the shadows regrouped at the edges of the clearing, their wrath intensifying. You can never escape your past. They howled, their voices merging into a cacophony of grief and despair. The dark truth of what you've done will always claw back into your life. Julian's heart sank at their words, doubt creeping back into his mind. Was this an escape, or merely an illusion? Would he truly be free, or would the shadows remain, lurking just out of sight? Julian! Rachel's voice broke through his turmoil, fierce and unwavering. The only truth that matters is the one you choose to create. He took a deep breath. A storm of emotions roiled within him, fear, anger, but also hope. Could he truly forge ahead? The shadows clawed at the edges of his vision, whispers of doubt threatening to drown him. Make your choice, Julian, Rachel urged, her eyes locking onto his. You have the power. Embrace your truth, and let go of the rest. With the echoes of the specters behind him and the warmth of hope before, Julian's resolve solidified once more. He had to choose, but what if that choice led him deeper into a reality he couldn't bear? Could he lift the veil and face whatever lay ahead? Determination thrummed in his veins as he stood at the precipice, ready to confront both the light and the dark. Let us do this, he whispered, stepping forward into a confrontation he could no longer avoid. The night held its breath, and as he moved, he felt life tugging him between two worlds, each step weighed with the promise of freedom, or the certainty of despair. What awaited him on the other side of choice? Would he find himself or lose everything again? The light surged around Julian, brilliant and blinding, dissolving the shadows clinging tightly to his consciousness. As he moved forward, the whispering voices of doubt receded, replaced by an overwhelming sense of clarity. He could feel Rachel's presence beside him, not as a ghost of the past but as a living, breathing reality, a reminder of the love he sought to reclaim. Face it, Julian! Rachel's voice rang out, steady and warm, urging him onward. You control your narrative now. With each stride, the dark specters lunged at him, snarling, clawing for a grip but finding nothing but air. You cannot escape us. They hissed, their voices a blend of anger and despair. Truth is cruel, don't embrace it. Yet he felt stronger, not weaker. He had faced the storm, chased after shadows, and now, standing before this radiant door, he saw the reality of his choices unfold. With fierce determination, he stepped into the blinding light, surrendering to its warmth. And suddenly, the oppressive weight of the past shattered, fragments of memories cascading around him like crystal shards. Moments flooded back the laughter, the hope, the love he had buried beneath guilt. Was this what it felt like to breathe again, in the brilliance? Time folded and he found himself no longer in the field but transported into a sprawling garden, lush, vibrant, and filled with life. Colors pulsed with vitality, crimson flowers danced in the breeze while the sunlight filtered through fluttering leaves like confetti, celebrating his awakening. "Do you see?" Rachel's voice, now ethereal yet grounded, sought him through the riotous beauty. "Let go of your chains, Julian. Here, you can choose the love you carry forward." He turned to face her, seeing her clearly for the first time, her eyes sparkling with hope, reflecting the warmth of their shared memories. "But what if I fail again?" His voice trembled, a shadow of uncertainty creeping back. "You won't," she assured him, stepping closer. "Your journey isn't defined by past failures, but rather how you choose to rise from them. We can create something new together." Tears filled his eyes as vulnerability washed over him. The garden basked in love and life. It challenged the darkness that once consumed him. With each heartbeat, he felt more alive, more connected to her essence, the laughter that once echoed in their shared moments, the bonds they forged over time. Those were truths he could embrace. "I'm ready," he breathed. "I choose not just to face my truth, but to celebrate it." The shadows that loomed at the periphery shrieked, a twisting mass of regret and anguish. "You will regret this choice, Julian. You will always belong in the dark." But he shook his head, steadfast. "No. I will find my joy in the light. I won't hide anymore." As the shadows lunged one last time, a radiant burst of energy erupted from his heart, blasting through the dark tendrils that threatened to bind him. Light engulfed him completely, merging with Rachel until they sparkled like stars in the night sky, intertwining their destinies as one. In that instant, he let go of guilt, of grief, and all the shackles of the past. The energy pulsated through him, infusing every cell with love and purpose, dissolving all doubts. He felt Rachel next to him, and suddenly they stood together in a new reality, surrounded by the vibrant garden of choice. "Welcome home," Rachel whispered, joy lighting her face. It was as if the sun had risen for the first time, casting warmth over everything. Yet as they stood together, the haunting voice echoed no more. The darkness had receded, and in its place, the dawn of a new day settled over their lives, one filled with hope, love, and the unbreakable connection they shared. With renewed strength, Julian smiled. "We can create our story together, can't we?" Rachel nodded, her gaze full of sparkling promise. "Always." As they hand in hand began to walk into the heart of the garden, Julian realized he was finally free, not just from the shadows, but to live fully again. No longer just a grieving billionaire, he was now a man reborn, ready to embrace love anew. Together they strode into the horizon, hearts alight with possibility. The journey had forged him anew, and the future gleamed bright. This was just the beginning. Now, don't miss out. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to catch all the exclusive stories we've got coming up. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. And don't forget to flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this intense conclusion. Lastly, share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this inspiring love story. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to join us.